Hi guys, it is April from Getting Hookah With It. Today I'm doing Konmari round 9. Konmari with me round 9. I can't believe it. There's still so many shelves to go. Today I'm tackling my biographies. There are some nonfiction in here as well, kind of thrown in there. Nonfiction biographies. I've got 31 books that I need to declutter down to 20. Wish me luck, because Lord knows I need it. Let's get into it. So the whole point of the Konmari with me series is for me to really go to my bookshelves and declutter. Have you seen my shelves lately? They are a mess. I'm inserting a picture of what they look like. They're double stacked. There is nothing about my shelves now that are bringing me joy. So the whole purpose of this whole series is to go one by one through my shelves and get rid of books. So I got some rules. Otherwise, I just keep everything like I have been. And the rules are I need to dwindle them down to 20 books. If I can go below 20 books per shelf, that's amazing. I don't do that a lot. Now I'm allowed to keep 2 books and put them on a limbo shelf. If I'm just not sure, like I'm not ready to get rid of them, I am not ready to read them, I don't know what to do with them, those 2 can go on a limbo shelf. The other part of this is if I'm really struggling, like I've dwindled it down to 22 books and I go, I need them all on my shelf. On this shelf, I need 22. Well, I have to pop over to my limbo shelf and take 2 from the limbo shelf. So this one is going to be hard. 31 books is one of the biggest per shelf. So I have to get rid of 11 books. I'm very nervous. First up is a classic, Angela's Ashes. It's the winner of the Pulitzer Prize. This is about a little boy's experience growing up in poverty in Ireland. I don't think I can get rid of this. It's such a classic. It's very depressing apparently. So there's that. But I'm hoping to read this. So I'm going to keep this on my shelves. It is a really terrible copy of it. I just need to clean it. Yeah, I'm going to keep this one. Next up is, as always, Julia. And this is letters that Julia Child and her best friend Avis wrote to one another. I love the idea of this. I don't think that I would really enjoy reading it. So I don't know if you know, but I'm a huge Nora Ephron fan, and she created the film Julie and Julia, and it's so near and dear to my heart that I'm almost terrified to get rid of this. But I think this is different than that, and I can separate the 2 pieces. So I'm going to just get rid of that. Next up is Bite of the Mango. This is about a young girl living in Sierra Leone. She's 12 years old when she is attacked, brutally attacked. Rebels approach her and they cut off her hands. I saw her in person. She was at the Museum of War, the War Museum, here in Ottawa, and she spoke, and it was powerful, and I'm keeping this. I still haven't read this, and I feel really guilty that I haven't, but I am keeping this. After her story, I was just, I need to read this. Next up is I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. I really love Maya Angelou. I listened to this on audio and it was so good. Oh my goodness, she reads it herself, so how could it be bad? So I'm absolutely keeping this. It's a classic too, so yeah. Next is another Maya Angelou, Letter to My Daughter. And this is about life lessons that have helped Maya Angelou through her life. And I really want to keep this. I did read this a while back, but I don't remember it very well. Let's Pretend This Never Happened by Jenny Lawson is supposed to be hilarious. My sister recommends her books to me, and I was actually surprised. My sister reads like literary fiction, classics, like almost exclusively. And so when she started talking to me about this, I was kind of shocked and blindsided. But she loves her, and she really dives into depression and anxiety, and what that feels like. But she writes about it in a very comical kind of way. And so yeah, I definitely want to keep this. Girl Wash Your Face is up next. This was more self-help than like biography, although it does talk about her life quite a bit in here. And this is Rachel Hollis's like tips on how to be kinder to yourself, how to walk through the world in a kinder way, and kind of the lies we tell ourselves, and how to combat those lies. Now, I enjoyed this. This was a little bit preachy at times. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars. Now, that said, I don't feel like I need to keep this on my shelf, so I'm going to pass this along. I'm sure someone else will really get a lot out of it, so I'm going to pass it on. Educated is up next by Tara Westover. This was quite a brutal book to go through. It is about Tara's childhood. She lived, I think, in the Midwest somewhere, but also slightly in the middle of nowhere. Her family did not believe in formal education, and they really didn't educate their kids at home either. They also didn't believe in like medicine. They refused most of the time to bring people to hospitals when they actually needed it. Like, you're in a car crash, you should probably go to the hospital because you're all banged up. There were a lot of like huge dramatic moments in here. This also touches on the abuse that she experienced from her brother. It was brutal. It was very hard to read. I'd never read anything like that before. I obviously knew sibling abuse exists, but wow, she had life. She's still very young. I think she's younger than I am. So I'm going to keep this. I really liked it. The Psychopath Test by Jon Ronson is a book that I haven't read yet, but it just sounds so good. Jon Ronson is a really eye-opening writer. This one is about psychopaths, and not in the like exclusively terrifying kind of way, but also psychopaths in your daily life. Like, you might be doing business with a psychopath, and he dives into like what it means to be a psychopath and like how to identify them. And I am just fascinated, and I really need to read this. Hopefully I'm not one of them. Oh, this was so good. The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. You will never pry this from my hands. This is about Jeanette Walls' childhood. She starts off the story as an adult living in New York, and she is in a car and passes by a homeless person and recognizes that it's her mother, and she doesn't stop. And it is about the experience of being raised by 2 very strange people who were very self-involved, loved their children. And that was something that Jeanette Walls does in such a beautiful way. She recognizes that she was loved, but she also recognizes that it was a very tumultuous way to grow up. I can't recommend The Glass Castle enough. Oh my goodness, that is staying. Oh my god, can you imagine me trying to get rid of that? No, there's no way. I'll Be Gone in the Dark is next by Michelle McNamara. This is about the Golden State Killer, who was recently found. I actually read this last year. I want to say a week later, he was found. A week or 2 later. I'm not joking. It was that close together. This terrified me. This made me not want to be at home alone. The Golden State Killer would break into people's homes, and he often raped the women in the homes. Sometimes he killed them. Truly terrifying. And I listened to it on audio, which I thought was really good. But I could see myself going back and reading it all over again. But yeah, I really liked it. And Michelle McNamara passed away before he was caught, which is very upsetting. but good for her. She was on to quite a few things. Smoke Gets in Your Eyes is next by Caitlin Doty. And this is about a woman who actually worked at a crematory and her experiences there. It's meant to be funny. She has a YouTube channel that I subscribe to. I don't watch all of her videos, but I enjoy her perspective, so I'm going to keep this one for sure. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil is another book I definitely want to keep. This follows a town in Savannah, Georgia, and there was a murder that happened on May 2nd, 1981, 2 days before I was born. And it dives into the town itself, and the story, like, what was it, a murder or was it self-defense? That is what you kind of go through here. So I want to keep this. Becoming by Michelle Obama is something I'd also like to keep. I really enjoyed this. Even though I've gotten a lot of hate in the comments about enjoying this book, which creeps me out. Anyhow, I really enjoyed Becoming by Michelle Obama, and I'm absolutely keeping it. I loved it. Next up is What Happened by Hillary Clinton. I think I'm gonna let this go. I feel at this point just so over what happened. Like, I am, it's so demoralizing. US politics right now is so demoralizing and overwhelming. I just don't think I can commit this much time to it. I do feel bad for Hillary, but I gotta let it go. Furiously Happy is another Jenny Lawson, so I'm gonna keep it because she's apparently hilarious and insightful. The Things They Carried is about men that went to war in Vietnam and came back, and their memories and their experience and what they're carrying around after that. I'm gonna put this on my limbo pile because I'm just not sure that I'm desperate to read this. Next is Lost at Sea. This is John Ronson as well, and he dives into the strange things that human beings can believe in. For example, he interviews a pop singer whose life's greatest passion is the coming alien invasion. Just like strange things that people believe in. I find it fascinating. He's just a fascinating author, so I'm going to keep this. Wild Swans was brilliant. I read this. This is about 3 generations in China during the course of the Mao regime. This taught me so much about the history of China in a really great way. It was so easy to read this. It was huge, big book. It's like about 500 pages, and I had a really hard time putting this down, so I want to keep this because it has a little special spot in my heart. Nora Ephron, I Feel Bad About My Neck. Is this the one that's signed? No, it's not. Barry got me one that's signed. In any case, that's probably coming. I'm keeping this. Nora Ephron is one of my great heroes in life, and I am keeping all of her books. The Opposite of Loneliness is by a girl who died very suddenly. I think she died in a car crash. She had graduated from Yale, and like soon after graduating died tragically. And this is her work, and I would really like to read it, so I'm going to keep this. Dust Tracks on a Road by Zora Neale Hurston is another one I want to keep. This is Zora Neale Hurston's autobiography, and she is such a gorgeous writer. I really loved her. She actually kind of disappeared at some point. She was this prolific writer, disappeared, and Alice Walker actually went on the hunt and found her grave. So I'm keeping this. Eat, Pray, Love was a book that really helped me. I know that a lot of people are like, it's so white privilege, and it is. She gets to just travel around and, like, you know, consult herself and like soul search and stuff, and it really is such a privileged perspective, but the insights that she has along the way I really thought were really great, and this one helped me after a bad breakup, so I'm keeping it. In the Garden of Beasts by Eric Larson. follows a family who moves to Germany during World War II or right before World War II, and they see the Nazi Party be kind of created and like rise. I don't like Erik Larson's writing. I read one book by him, Dead Wake, and I found his writing to be so dry that I don't think I want to read this in the end, sadly. I think I'm just gonna get rid of it. Oh, Unbroken was so good. Laura Hildenbrand, or Hillenbrand I should say, doesn't write very often. It usually takes her about 10 years to write one book. But when she does, my goodness, they're amazing. This is about Luis Zamperini, who had quite a life. He participated in the Olympics, and then soon after he got into World War II. He was a soldier during World War II. His plane went down and he was taken prisoner by the Japanese. And whoa, this was really good, really hard to read at times, but I loved it. I really loved this one. Barry found this one at a book sale once. This is a collected work of Nora Ephron, and I'm going to keep it. I've got another collection of works, but I think there are some that are missing from that, so I'm going to keep this one. The Scandalous Lady W is about an 18th century woman who gets like wrapped up in this major scandal, and I just don't think I'm gonna read this. I don't think it's really of interest to me, so I'm just gonna let that one go. Lucky is about rape, and it is about the rape of Alice Sebold and her experience. This is heavy, and I just don't think I can do it. I'm gonna just part with it. Next is The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion. This is about the death of her husband and the grief that she experiences over the course of a year. It sounds really wonderful. I'm going to put this on the limbo pile just because it does sound quite sad, and I still haven't been able to pick this up, so yeah, limbo pile it goes. Brain on Fire is about a woman who suddenly wakes up in the hospital, doesn't understand what's happened to her. She's 24 years old. She can't like move either or speak. She finds out that she's in there because she's been labeled like violent, psychotic, a flight risk, and she's stuck here, and she's learning about the brain trauma that she had. She had something medicinally wrong with her brain. So it sounds fascinating, and I want to keep this. And then last but definitely not least is The Most of Nora Ephron. So I'm keeping it, just point blank keeping. Okay, so I have quite a dilemma. I have 6 books that I'm getting rid of, 2 for my limbo, so that's 8, but I had to get rid of 11 to dwindle it down to 20. I'm not willing to part with any of these books, so I need to go to my limbo shelf and take away 3 books. Okay, we need to do that right now together. Okay, so here is my little limbo pile. These are the 2 that I just added. I don't want to do this. Why are you making me do this? Okay, you know what? First of all, I'm going to get rid of the things they carried. So I'm going to, that's going to go. I need to go and get rid of 2 more? Oh no. Oh no. Okay. I think I'm going to ditch A Spell of Winter as well, because it just hasn't called to me. It has not called to me. And what else? I think Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell can go as well. Yeah, it's huge. And I'm not hugely into fantasy either, so maybe I could just watch the show instead. Okay. Ugh. I did it. So I'm getting rid of all 3 of these, and then I've got a big old pile on the floor, and it's even. Oh, hooray! I did it. Okay, so that was hard. I knew the nonfiction, like the biographies, was going to be a really rough shelf. Rough. That was rough. Let me know in the comments below if you're proud of me. Also, if there were books that I decided to get rid of that you were like, don't keep them. I'd love to know, and I'll talk with you guys soon, okay? Bye!